Welcome to the Science of Fiction HFY Galaxy Tales. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a new story from HFY Galaxy Tales. Where humanity always finds a way. Asterisk, she wasn't just a girl, she was Hunt asterisk the junkyard on Zereth 4 stretched for miles under a gray sky. Old ships, broken robots, and rusted engines lay in giant piles like metal mountains. Callan Voss moved carefully through the debris. Holding a scanner in one hand and a toolkit on his back, he was a middle-aged engineer, quiet and tired. Just trying to find enough parts to fix his mining drone. Every day was the same search. Salvage, survive. But today, something was different. A low sound stopped him, a soft growl, almost like a whisper. He turned, confused, then heard it again. A little louder, a little closer. Callan followed the noise carefully, stepping over burnt wires and cracked glass. Behind a crashed shuttle, half buried in dust, he found a bent escape pod. Its door was jammed, but smoke hissed from the edges. He pried it open with a crowbar, and what he saw inside made him freeze. Curled up in the corner was a girl, at least. She looked like a girl, but her skin shimmered like metal. Her long silver hair was tangled with wires. Her back had torn wings, glowing faintly, and sharp black claws covered her fingers. Golden eyes stared up at him. Wild and afraid, she hissed weakly, her body shaking from hunger and wounds. Callan didn't move fast, didn't speak loud. He slowly pulled out a bottle of water and placed it near her hand. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said, voice calm and steady. The girl looked at him, eyes full of fear, then reached for the bottle and drank it all in seconds. She tried to stand but collapsed forward. Callan caught her before she hit the ground, her body light and burning with fever. Without thinking, he carried her across the scrapyard, back to his old workshop hidden inside a crashed freighter. He laid her on a bench, covered her with a blanket, and began cleaning her wounds. For hours she slept, breathing slow and shallow. Callan stayed nearby, fixing a broken heater and preparing simple food, just in case she woke up. When her eyes finally opened again, it was night, and rain tapped softly on the metal roof. She stared at him without speaking, then looked at her wrapped arm and the warm drink beside her. He smiled a little. "You're safe here." She didn't answer. But she didn't run either. Over the next few days, she began to recover. She moved carefully, watching every corner like danger was hiding behind every wall. Callan didn't ask questions, he gave her time. She learned a few words, broken English, enough to say her name. Thera. When she finally spoke more, her story made his blood run cold. She was not just a girl. She was something rare, part alien, part dragon blood. Her kind was hunted across the galaxy for their powers. She had escaped from a secret lab ship where they cut her skin and drained her blood for weapons research. She had stolen a pod and crashed into Zereth 4, hoping to die in peace rather than be captured again. But now, she had found something she never expected, someone who helped without asking for anything. "I thought all humans were cruel," she whispered. Callan shook his head. "Not all of us." Still, danger wasn't far. Callan's scanner beeped with strange signals. Someone was searching the system. Thera's face turned pale. "They found me," she said, voice shaking. The hunters were coming, and they wouldn't stop until she was in chains or dead. Callan stood up and checked his tools. "Then we'll give them a reason to regret it," he said. The fight for her life began in the junkyard. The rain didn't stop for 2 days, and the wind howled across the junkyard like a warning. Inside his rusted workshop, Callan worked faster than ever. Wires, scrap metal, old drones, all of it was laid out in pieces across the table. Thera watched him quietly, still weak but standing now. She moved like a shadow, graceful but alert, always listening for danger outside. Callan looked at her and said, "If they're coming, we need to be ready." Thera nodded slowly. "They will come with fire," she said. She helped him lift old battery cores, rewire old turrets, and strip parts from dead defense bots. Her dragon blood gave her strength, but she still trembled when she heard distant ships passing by. Callan didn't ask her to fight, but she stayed anyway. She had seen too many people run when things got hard. This time, she wanted to stand. At night, they ate simple food and shared short stories. Thera told him about her planet, green skies, crystal lakes, and her mother singing. But all of that was gone, burned and taken by bounty fleets. Callan spoke about Earth's, his old job, his failed business, and the daughter he lost in a colony raid. "We both lost something," she said one night, looking into the fire. "Maybe we were meant to find something new," he replied. On the third day, alarms went off. A signal pulse hit the workshop fast. sharp, and cold. Thera's eyes turned bright gold, and her wings twitched. "They're here," she whispered. Voice hard, Callan stood up, grabbing the shotgun he had rebuilt from scrap, and handed her a plasma blade. "Let's show them this isn't just a junkyard," he said. The first ship landed with a loud thud. Dark-armored hunters stepped out, wearing masks with red lights and heavy boots. They scanned the ground with drones, tracking her scent through the rain. Callan triggered the first trap, a falling wall of steel and sparks. 2 hunters went down fast. The others spread out. Thera leaped into the sky, her wings catching wind, her claws flashing with light. She wasn't just fast, she was fire itself. She moved like a storm, slicing through air, blasting energy from her hands. But they had numbers. And one by one they pushed closer to the workshop. Callan activated defense. Bots he had rebuilt from mining drones, clunky but armed. The battle turned into chaos, smoke, sparks, plasma blasts lighting up the junkyard like a war zone. Thera fought beside him, not as a victim but as a warrior. Then, the lead hunter arrived, flying down in a black ship with sharp wings. He was twice the size of the others, covered in bone armor from dragon kills. He pointed at Thera and said, "She belongs to the labs. Stand aside." Human Callan stood in front of her and said, "Not anymore." The hunter fired, and Callan was thrown back, armor cracked, blood on the ground. Thera screamed, a sound like thunder. Her wings spread wide, and golden fire erupted from her chest. She roared, not in fear, but in rage. And the hunter's armor began to melt. She struck him down with a blast of energy so bright the sky flashed white. When the smoke cleared, the junkyard was silent. Thera ran to Callan, tears mixing with the rain on her face. He opened his eyes and whispered, "You did good, kid." The sky was no longer her prison. The storm faded slowly over Zereth 4. Smoke from the battle still rose in the distance, dancing above twisted metal and fallen machines. Thera knelt beside Callan, her claws trembling, his chest bleeding where the plasma blast had struck him. His eyes were open, but fading. "You have to stay awake," she whispered, voice cracking. "You saved me, now I save you." She tore her own sleeve and sliced her arm carefully with a claw. Golden blood dripped from her wound, warm and glowing like liquid fire. She pressed it to his chest, letting it soak into the injury. Her kind had healing powers, but they were never meant to be used on outsiders. Doing so could kill her or change her forever, but she didn't care. The blood began to glow around Callan's wound, pulsing with light. His skin burned, then cooled, then healed slowly under her touch. His breath returned, shallow but strong. He looked up at her and whispered, "You should have run." She shook her head with tears in her eyes. "You gave me a future, I won't leave you behind." For hours, they rested in the workshop, surrounded by wreckage and silence. The bounty hunters were gone, and their ship lay in pieces. Thera walked through the battlefield with wings folded, watching the machines spark and die. The junkyard wasn't just a place of ruin anymore, it had become their battleground and their home. She found a ship among the ruins, one with a cracked engine but a working frame. Together, they repaired it using the best parts from the destroyed vessels. Callan recovered slowly, but his spirit was stronger than before. He laughed again, and his eyes held new fire. "You're still not a pilot," he joked as Thera adjusted the controls. "And you're still slow with repairs," she replied, smiling for the first time in days. The ship they built wasn't perfect, but it was theirs. Painted in deep red and black, it carried a new name across the side, Skyfire. Thera stepped into the cockpit with calm, her wings folding behind her. She looked at Callan and asked, "Where do we go now?" He leaned back and answered, "Wherever they need saving." And with that, they left Zereth 4 behind. The sky that once held her in chains now opened before her. She was not a slave, not a lab subject, not a weapon. She was free. Across the stars, they became known. Stories spread of a dragon girl and a human who saved the broken. They attacked labs, broke slave rings, and freed others like her. Sometimes they barely escaped, sometimes they lost more than they could bear, but they never gave up, because they remembered what it felt like to be alone. One night, as they floated above a glowing nebula, Callan gave her a small datapad. On it was a list of stolen names, hybrids, slaves, runaways. She scrolled through it, heart heavy and hopeful. "These are our next missions," he said. She looked out the window and whispered, "Let's find them." The stars blinked quietly as Skyfire vanished into the darkness. Her wings were no longer broken, her heart no longer caged. She had been hunted, but now she was the hunter. And beside her flew the only human who ever saw her as more than just a body. He saw her as someone worth saving, someone worth standing beside, and together, they gave the galaxy something it had long forgotten.